Next summer, August of 2026, will mark 150 years since Wild Bill Hickok, that notorious gambler and gunslinger from the Old West, was assassinated here in Deadwood, South Dakota. Today I'm here at Mt Moriah Cemetery, located way up on top of a mountain overlooking Deadwood, to find Wild Bill's final resting place.
So here we go, off to find Wild Bill and Calamity Jane. $2 is the entry fee to come in and visit the cemetery. And they say it's a 100-yard walk, but I've also heard that it's uphill.
Although Wild Bill is famous for being a gunslinger, Hickok actually began with a pretty respectable biography. Born in Illinois, his given name was James Butler Hickok. William was his father's name. His father was active in the Underground Railroad, ferrying slaves to freedom. In 1855, when he was only 18 years old, James Hickok moved to Kansas to homestead, and it wasn't long afterward that he became the local constable. He worked for the Union Army during the Civil War, and even served under General Custer in the 7th Cavalry.
All of these Old Testament names on these streets.
James developed a reputation as a ruffian and began using his father's name to stay ahead of the law and get a fresh start. But rabble-rousers gonna rouse, and it wasn't long before William became known as Wild Bill. After the war, Bill took up gambling and soon found himself involved in a gunfight that may have been the very first quick-draw duel. Such duels later became the staple in the plot of just about every Western movie. Bill shot a fellow gambler, David Tutt, right through the heart. Hickok was placed on trial for manslaughter, but was acquitted by the jury, which created controversy, but the notoriety also generated the legend of Wild Bill as a gunslinger. Wild Bill was killed while playing poker in this saloon right here on the main street of Deadwood. Sitting with his back to the door and holding two pair, aces over eights, Hickok was shot in the head by James McCall. The hand that Hickok held became known as the Dead Man's Hand, and it's celebrated in lore all around town. It was reported that nearly the entire town attended his funeral when he was buried in Deadwood's Ingleside Cemetery. About 3 years later, his body was moved to its present location here in Mt Moriah.
All of the items people leave behind here as tributes. Bullets, and hot sauce. I don't know if that's a cigarette or a roach. Oh, it looks like a broken cigarette. 39 years old he was.
The original wooden marker was replaced with this more durable marker in the 1890s. Wild Bill is most commonly linked romantically with a woman named Martha Jane Canary, who was better known as Calamity Jane. Although he married a rich widow in Cheyenne only a few months before his death, it is Calamity Jane who is interred next to him in the cemetery here in Deadwood.
There's a third grave here too for Potato Creek Johnny. I don't see a headstone for him.
Yeah, despite all his gold.
I think this was the inventor of Viagra.